Still dealing with the cameras. All right, Benny, you're almost done. Give me a second here.
Hello.
Thanks for those who are joining us here on Twitch. We are I don't have any viewers, so that's fine. We're just waiting on me to get all the cameras set up. I'm here in Florida using my old laptop, so I had to reset everything. Display capture, Mr. C cam. You guys are coming through good, which is nice. Benny, that haircut, dude. On point.
Yeah, it's nice.
How big is his forehead though?
My sister says your beard looks really good too. It's all filled in.
Oh, yeah.
Looks good. Mr. C, you look tired.
I am. It's been a long day, dude.
Yeah, it's been a long day for me, too.
Been like non-stop since like 9. Like haven't really done like sat down at all since like right now.
Right.
I'm drinking now. I'm waking up.
All right. I'll be done here in just a minute. And we'll get all the cameras set up. We have 4 viewers right now, so
Hey.
if you want to talk to the viewers while I'm getting this set up.
Let me get on Twitch.
Thanks everyone for hanging out with us as we're live, where I'm just setting up all the cameras because I'm using a different computer than I normally use. So
We have to welcome
yeah, welcome everyone.
Raj to Florida.
Yeah,
Welcome to
man.
Florida.
It's been
Oh,
dude.
That's right, Raj.
It's been wonderful, man. It really
You
has
miss
been.
us?
I did. It's in my stories. It's in the things I'm going to talk about. But
Good.
just, I shit on Florida a lot in Arizona. And what I've realized is that maybe home wasn't that bad. You know?
Yeah.
Maybe I just deserve to be in Florida. Everyone's so cool here. Seriously, everyone's rad.
We actually we have a friend visiting right now who grew up in Florida, but she's been in Saudi Arabia for the past
Oh wow.
year.
Yeah.
And she was saying that she has even had like people from there say things about Florida.
Like what do you mean?
I was like, well, she was asking like, what's the podcast about? And I was like, oh, it's like, we're just like talking about Florida man stories. And then we kind of get like, it's very like Florida based.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I've got people talking about how I grew up in Florida, even over in Saudi. So it's like,
I mean, we're worldwide for sure.
phenomenon. It's not just in the United States.
Yeah. I think it's great. But I mean, again, like I think what people don't understand about Florida is that unlike other states, I mean, I guess there's other culture. I don't know. I mean, I've been around a lot, but I guess New York has a lot of different cultures within the state. But most people break it down into upstate versus like the city, and I guess the city has its own little micro cultures, but in Florida it's just so wild. Like there's so many different cultures in Florida, and they all just we all hate each other, but we're all like on the same team as well. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like we
Have you
like
seen
like we can make fun of ourselves, but if somebody else messes with us, we're all hopping in.
Yeah. I mean, and there is different cultures within Florida. Have you ever seen that map that they like kind of break up what Florida, um,
Yeah.
like what Florida, like the different cultures within Florida, like the South is, like Miami's its own state pretty much.
Mhm.
Like everything from like Gainesville to Pensacola is just uh, um, like people living out in like the boondocks, and then there's definitely different cultures here. You can travel like 2 hours and be in a completely different culture.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's maybe why Floridians aren't as well traveled, maybe, or like that's like the bad rep on them, is that it's because you don't have to leave the state to get whatever you want. Everyone comes here.
Yeah,
So just no one ever
true.
leaves.
That's true.
You just gotta be on the water.
Just got
It's so hot.
It is
So
hot.
hot. You have no choice but to be on the water, in a pool, on the beach.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You gotta do one of those.
I'm telling you, today in Daytona, I don't know what the weather's like in
Dude,
Jax right now, but it's got to be as good as it is in Daytona. Like, there's no humidity right now. There's a nice breeze coming in off the ocean.
Nice. It's nice right
It's
now, even in
wonderful.
Orlando.
Oh,
it's so strange. Keith went for a walk this morning, and it was 66 degrees.
really?
That's beautiful.
Oh,
in
it's
Jacksonville.
gorgeous.
How crazy is that?
It's
It was really
gorgeous.
nice out today too. It was beautiful. It was
Yeah.
a beautiful day for
Honestly,
June.
in June, that's unheard of.
Yeah.
Unheard of. I was like, what the?
I mean,
was like,
I'll
what the
take
hell?
I'll take climate change if this is what is meant by climate change. You know,
Right.
if it's not,
Florida just gets a little cooler.
that'd be great. I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah, this is usually like when we're like all preparing for tropical storms and hurricanes and stuff, and
Yeah, what's going on with that?
I don't know.
They said it's supposed to be. Well, I feel like every year, like ever since like 2012, they said every year, like going into our hurricane season is going to be the worst one.
Right.
They-
Yeah.
This one's getting a lot of hype. Like this season's like this could be one of the worst hurricane seasons we have ever seen.
every year.
Every year. I swear it's every year. You gotta start like documenting this stuff.
Oh, I'm
like,
sure
what
they
people
are.
saying.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like the boy who cried wolf, right? Like every year, like people who don't live in Florida, like they're like, well, how bad are the hurricanes? You guys have got to be worried about the hurricanes. And we're like, no. Like I think that's why Florida, like we're not concerned with COVID. Like there are certain, like I went down to Miami. South Florida is really concerned with COVID. Everyone's wearing masks. I think everyone is really worried about getting. Contracting or passing it, but you go north of Jupiter, no one's wearing masks, and I mean I guess that's why we're spiking again.
Well, those three counties are on their own schedule.
Yeah,
Palm Beach County, Broward, and Dade.
yeah,
They're like on their own schedule outside of all Florida. So
Right.
you have to wear like masks to go into certain places.
yeah,
Whereas like Jacksonville, you don't have to wear. No one wears a mask in Jacksonville,
yeah.
except for when you go to Publix. People do wear it.
I just want to give a shout out to Tearing Future, Dayton, Disking, and Karen Wu. Thank you guys. Really appreciate you hanging out with us.
Woo.
Karen Wu. She's like
Karen Woo.
Karen's great because she called me out on Twitter. She's like, "Hey, where have you guys been? Because we've been on hiatus for the last 2 weeks." And I was like, we had we'll get into it. We can talk about it. But I was like, we were on hiatus, and she's like, "Well, freaking update your Twitch calendar." And I'm like, "If I knew how to, I would," because I don't know how to update the Twitch calendar on the channel. But yeah, I love it. I love it when like we have a viewer who's so like enthusiastic about our episodes, because throughout the whole process of launching the new podcast and whatnot, and learning a new program like Twitch, it's we're just kind of testing things each week. So I really haven't been pushing it, really been advertising it, but it's kind of cool to have some people like that who have been here from the beginning, because I think we can finally start advertising it, which is nice. But
Can I talk really quick, Benny? Can I ask you a question about your haircut?
Yeah, my
What
guy.
did you tell? What did you tell the barber really like the way that's cut. It's like I feel like yours goes up higher. Like whenever I talk to the barber, like I'm like short on the sides, long on top, right?
Right.
So he goes like up to here, and then it's short, and then he leaves these like side parts like still kind of long.
Yeah.
He
Which
blends
like
it
gives
in.
that messy look, you know? Like I kind of want it shaped up like to here. So what do I say? Just like high and like higher up, or
So sometimes what they'll do, it looks like he like, so there's two different things that you ask for. You can ask to have like the sides blended into the top, which it looks like you may have done, or you get them like detached, right? So like basically detached is they'll do it all the way here, and then it'll just be like the length on top depending on where like your line is.
right?
So you kind of have to like tell them.
Okay, detached. Is that like is that lingo?
Yeah.
Barber
It's,
lingo.
you'd be good for that. You'll pass. Be like, yo, it's like, let me get like a two. Let me get like a two on the sides. I don't blend it. Get it separate,
Right.
Separate.
and then just take a little off the top. And if you want like this, you can ask them for like a quiff. I think it's called a quiff.
Where do you learn all these barber lingo? Like, is there a
exactly.
Facebook page for this?
No, Ryan. It's just called having a conversation.
Or it's called having a brother who's a really good barber.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
well,
true.
he's a hairstylist, not a barber.
Yeah.
Hairstyles. Yeah.
We gotta
But
get
he does like Brazilian blowouts and stuff.
we gotta get him on the pod. He's
He would be,
amazing, dude.
high
He's
quality content.
unreal. Quick shout outs to Gaz Beardall, who just subscribed with Twitch Prime. Thanks, Gaz. Thanks Almighty for 100 Twitch bits. Really appreciate that. If you want to live a Twitch bit, you can do that in the chat. And thanks everyone for Almighty 8882. It's good to see you as well, man. Hey, thanks so much for hanging out with us. For those who have never joined, or this is your first time hanging out with us on the Untitled Florida Men Project, essentially what we do is we take the best headlines from Florida Man or from the Florida Man genre, and we talk about it, and we hang out. We just talk. Typically we have like a Florida wheel, or the Wheel of Florida, where we just talk about random things or random stories. But my computer is so old that I don't think it can handle Twitch, Zoom, and an open browser window with like the automated circle. I had been using Kelly's computer previously, so if you guys want to donate to my GoFundMe and buy Raj a new laptop, that'd be awesome. I think we can like set like a donation goal, right? On Twitch.
Yeah, but you don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that, right? I'll get it.
Listen, you're not a charity case.
I'm
You look
selling
like one.
It's because I
With your
don't know.
beanie-
I don't know.
You're wearing a beanie in summer in Florida.
It's cool.
Only
It's
the
cool
homeless
today.
do that.
It only reached 80. It only reached
Yeah.
80 today.
I guess that's okay.
Listen,
That's your thing. That's your thing.
I wouldn't have to wear the beanie if I knew proper barber terms. I could just be like,
That's
listen,
true.
give me a quiff and separate
Well-
separate the sides from the top, and they'd know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you get the skin fade. We get a taper on the side.
Wow.
Get the beard cleaned up.
Man.
The whole shebang. I ask a lot of questions.
Well,
It sounds like if you just know the right terminology,
right.
that's half the battle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, is there anything you guys want to talk about before we dive into the show? Any questions you got for it? Oh, Karen Wu says you've got multiple computers, Raj, not a charity case. Yeah, I mean, I do have multiple computers. They're all
Are
from
those designer glasses that you have too?
Listen, these Oakleys. First of all, can we talk about the sunglasses?
Oakley
the Oakleys.
specs. All right,
The problem with vision wear is like it's all monopolized. Like there's one company in Italy that controls like 80% of the glassware market, sunglasses and eyeglasses. Oakley was an independent brand that fought against Luxottica, which is the monopoly, and Luxottica's too big, so they just bought Oakley.
How do you know all this? Like, that's so random.
I know.
That's such like a random thing to know.
I know a lot of random stuff. I'm great. Listen, we're great at trivia. Remember when we went to trivia and we crushed it?
Hey, I'm gonna be stoked. We're gonna do a lot.
We're gonna do a lot of trivia. Have you told Mr. C yet what's happening?
I haven't told Mr. C. I don't
You
think.
should break the news to
Wow,
Mr.
why
C.
haven't you told me?
You tell him.
All right, so Benny, his plan. So Mr. C, you came over. We'll talk about that the other night, and I announced that I'm moving back to Florida officially in August. Yeah. That's my move date. Well, Benny, his girlfriend, lives in Tampa, St. Petersburg, and they've been dating now. How long now, Benny?
Almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years. So it's getting to the point where you and your girlfriend are at, where you're cohabitating. So I think Benny's going to pull the trigger and move in with his girl out in St. Pete. However, there's a gap between when Benny's lease ends in Jack's Beach and his girlfriend's lease ends in St. Pete. There's 3 months of a gap?
Yeah, about 3 months.
About 3 months. So in that 3 months, guess where he's going to be living?
Man, that's a hard one. Let me get. That's awesome, dude.
It's going to be great, dude.
Benny, how well did that work out for you? That's crazy.
Perfect. It was either that or go back with my mom for a little bit, which I wouldn't mind.
Which wouldn't be that bad.
No, your mom's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And she stays over. Does she stay over at her boyfriend's?
Yeah, she'll be in Ormond most of the time anyway.
Oh, yeah. But, dude, it's going to be so cool having you here, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It's going to be a good time.
It's going to be a good time. A lot of FIFA.
Yeah, lots of FIFA.
I go to bed at 10:15, 10:30 though, Raj.
Perfect. Listen, I want to be up early at the gym. I like morning sessions. I don't like afternoon sessions. You think I can get you up
nice.
In the morning?
You have to get me up early then.
Perfect. Like 6 a.m.
I start around 8. I start working at 8.
We could do twofers. We could just go and lift in the morning and then do cardio at night.
I'm down.
Maybe you want to do that?
We get a bike.
Yeah, we have bikes. I have 2 bikes. I'm bringing one from Arizona and I got one here. So
let's go.
Dude, we got bikes.
We'll go for long bike rides.
We go down to the beach, right on the beach.
Oh my gosh.
Drive the Jeep down there. Guys. I know, dude.
Mr. C's not far away either.
Yeah, Mr. C's like an hour away.
Yeah, barely. It's like 45, 50 minutes.
Yeah, right there in Orlando. It was really cool. So just for the fans, I posted on Twitter. We did kind of a behind the scenes brainstorming session. It wasn't last Friday. It was the Friday before. You guys came over and hung out, and we kind of put some ideas on the board. And I think what's really cool and what we're planning to do is get into the video game, not video games, but get into producing videos.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's actually I know that one video we kind of decided to go forward with. I moved a step forward today. Actually, I was talking to some people about where and when we could do that video, if you guys know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm following a lot of people now that can give us some insight into where we need to go and
Perfect.
What time those things start. And now it's just a matter of us getting out there and doing it.
Yep. I'll start a Trello board. We don't want to announce anything yet because we want to make sure that we do it. But once it happens, I think it'll be cool. We got some really cool ideas. But anyway, it was really nice, and that kind of leads into some of our stuff that we're going to be talking about today. But I figured what we'll do before we dive into the actual meat of the show, again, those who haven't joined us before, we take the first 15, 20, 30 minutes. We just bullshit, we interact, and then we'll get into the stories and get into the meat of the show. But are there any questions? Karen Wu asked, does Americans or Floridians, do we just constantly name cities like St. Petersburg after countries we absolutely hate? I guess she means St. Petersburg and Russia.
I wonder if there's any correlation.
Yeah,
I think America just took a lot of names from other countries in general.
Yeah, I think so.
New York and New Jersey. These were all English cities.
Let me Google St. Petersburg.
Yeah, Google St. Petersburg. You would think it would be called New St. Petersburg if it was named after the Russian one, right? There has to be
a Russian person found it, find it or something, or
so I'm thinking that it has something to do with the Spanish, because Tampa was a pirate. It was a pirate haven, right? And it was mostly Spanish pirates that founded Tampa. And you would have to imagine with Spanish comes Catholic missionaries, and Catholic missionaries love to name after saints, and that's why it would. That's my guess. I don't know though.
Oh wow. So Petersburg was incorporated on February 29th, 1892, when it had a population of some 300 people. It was named after St. Petersburg, Russia, where Peter Demons had spent half of his youth. A local legend says that John C. Williams and Peter Demons flipped a coin to see who would have the honor of naming the city.
Wow.
Wow. So it really was named after Russia.
Nice little tidbit there.
Yeah, dude, that's great. I'm gonna tell everyone.
I love
that
fun
now.
facts. Let me know if you want me to look stuff up. I'll look stuff up.
Yeah, Karen Wu, what else do you want to know? What else do you want to know about Florida? Listen, if you have a question, put it in the chat. We'll answer it. Yeah, Australia has all the new English names.
Australia had like a New York City.
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool? It would just be York. It would be New York, like New York, New like Futurama. New York.
What if they did like a North Dakota?
Like it's just like I live in the north.
You want to go to North Dakota Beach?
Beach.
That'd be so bad.
It's just weird.
Aaron Wu was saying St. Petersburg, Lebanon, Athens. Are these all Florida named cities?
I think Lebanon.
I think it's in the United States.
Athens, Georgia.
Yeah, I think so.
I think Lebanon, Ohio.
Karen Wu has asked, why has the state not embraced the Spanish pirate history? It has. If you go to
Ponce de Leon.
Yeah, Ponce de Leon in St. Petersburg, the Fountain of Youth. Ponce de Leon was not really a pirate. He was more
Spanish conquistador.
He was a conquistador, and then I think he was like a privateer. He was like doing like
same but different.
Yeah. But then in Tampa, they do obviously they have the Buccaneers, right, as their football team, and then they have Gasparilla, and Gasparilla is like it's like an outdoor carnival like experience but it's pirate themed. It's like Mardi Gras for pirates, like a pirate Mardi Gras.
Gasparilla. This year they're having the Super Bowl in Tampa, and then the weekend after is Gasparilla.
Guess what we're doing?
I think it's the weekend before. The weekend before is Gasparilla, then the next weekend is the Super Bowl.
It's going to be
Gaz Beardall is Jacksonville as bad as everyone says.
Ooh, Gaz Beardall.
I mean, you know what's funny is that like I was at the bars this weekend. I was actually there Friday night, and I was there all day Saturday. I had kind of a day bender. Wasn't expected. Had 3 Michelob Ultras at a bar, and then boom, took off. But
they shut the bars down, didn't they?
They shut Lynch's down.
Yeah, they shut Lynch's
Saturday, which was the beach bar. But then they opened back up today, Tuesday. They had to do like a big sanitizing thing. But I think what you're gonna see is you're gonna see more cases of this, just because like testing's available everywhere. More people are getting tested, so the percent positive is probably on par from when it was peaking,
right?
Because there's just more people getting tested. So I think I have to look at the data. I kind of like glanced at it. I found like a website that has raw data, so you can kind of just like create your own filters and run your own analysis on it. So I want to look and do that again. But from what I saw, it was like the age groups, the younger population you'll start to see like the numbers of tested a lot higher.
Yeah.
Just from the raw data that I was looking at, like I added some.
Did you create some pivot tables on that?
Yeah, I created some pivot tables. I actually did. Serious.
Dude.
I don't even know what that is. Did you guys see the woman that got fired from like from the state of Florida that was responsible for doing like data analytics for the COVID cases, and she kind of opened up her own like portal to really report what's going on? Do you guys buy what she's doing, or do you think she's?
I'm skeptical because I'm just kind of like, data's data, right? Like I don't know how you can. I guess you can manipulate it. Like you're really not supposed to manipulate raw data like they're telling you to. But
well, it's like she maybe. I think the issue is that she was accusing the state of leaving out important data that that should have been included, but I think it's something similar to what we were talking about a couple episodes ago, where they're saying things along the lines of, oh, this person died of the flu, not of COVID, or this person died of something that was caused by COVID, but we're not going to list it as COVID because we want to reopen as soon as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's something similar to that, and like I think we're seeing the repercussions of that now, where we're hitting like record high cases, and
Right.
no one gives a shit. Everyone's just like, and that including myself. Like I would be a hypocrite to say to demonize these people that are going out and doing whatever they want, because I'm doing the same thing. But it's just funny that I don't know if it's a Florida and it's a Texas thing. So we're on that.
No, it's Arizona too, man. Arizona's spiking really hard. Yeah, because we opened with the same phases as Florida did. Our governor in Arizona was like, Ducey's like, hey, we don't really have a lot of cases. It's not really affecting us. It's really affecting our economy more. Let's open it up. And then all of a sudden, and of course, it's in Scottsdale. Like, of course, like if you saw videos over the weekend, Old Town Scottsdale packed to the brim, no one wearing masks. Everyone is, there's no temperature testing before you go into the bar. No one's social distancing. And if you know anything about the people who live and frequent Old Town in Scottsdale, like, of course, they're just all. It's very douchey. You know what I mean? Like, it's very. So I know
it's a rich area of Arizona. That's about. Or Phoenix, it's about as much I know.
It's where the $30,000 millionaires live and go to party down there. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, that's where it is.
And it's like I'm not saying it's a bad thing necessarily because I'm doing the same thing, but it's just funny, I guess. Almost. I guess that sounds bad, but it's crazy that we just think it doesn't exist here, and we're just going to do whatever we want, no matter what.
Exactly. That's exactly right. But again, I think that goes along with what I was saying before about this attitude that we have, because it's like every year we have to deal with the worst hurricane thing on season ever. So we're just like, whatever. We're Floridians. We wrestle alligators and drink snake venom. We're fine. Things are going to be okay.
Right.
Good transition.
It's so. Let's see here, Karen. Yeah, it all comes down to the money. This was all my 8882 says. Karen Wu says lies, damned lies, and statistics is a quote from her stats teacher. And Karen Wu says how does America open with 100,000 deaths plus and thousands more being reported every day? I mean, it's an interesting question because I think Karen Wu's from Australia or New Zealand, and you have like New Zealand, like they basically beat it, right? And then I think there were 2 reported cases. And believe me, we'll get off COVID here because I think people are probably tired of talking about it. But I think here in America, like number one, we just don't have the infrastructure to test, and like I don't know if I wanted to go get tested, I don't know where to go. I don't know if my insurance is going to pay for it. Or anything like that.
Something funny.
And then also, I don't know. Let's say I go get tested. I could catch it at the bar next week.
So that's what we did. My roommate and I actually looked at. Okay, maybe we should get tested because we were at the bars Friday and Saturday, and 3 of the bars that we didn't go to Lynch's, but we went to this place called the Rec.
Right.
And that got tested positive. People are tested positive for Corona. And we're like, oh man. Well, I mean. Wow. We should probably get tested, but we're like, oh, where do we get tested? So one was like in a parking lot in Tinseltown, which is like a movie theater area, and another one was in the parking lot of a Walmart. So
that's
very Florida for you.
So I mean,
come to Walmart. Get tested.
So tell me about your experience. How did that go?
No, I didn't get tested.
Didn't do it.
Oh, you didn't get.
Someone that we were with is getting tested, so we're just gonna wait for her results.
And you're just like, if she gets it, then you just assume that you have it.
If she has it, then I probably have it, and I'm just gonna confirm, and I'm just gonna say that I have it.
I'm more and more subscribing to the belief that it has something to do with our blood types. Have you heard this scenario?
Yeah, I've heard about that. I haven't really read into it.
Sounds like a rabbit hole, though.
Yeah, I think the belief is that if you have O blood, you're like the most, like you're gonna be the most secure against COVID. Like it won't affect you as much. But if you have like A type or B type or one of the others, you're more susceptible.
There's so much like there's so much stuff that like nobody like knows or they think they know, and then it just gets rebuked. Like it's like even the CDC came out and everything about how like it lived on the surfaces for a while.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh no, that's not true.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. That's why, like, I don't know what. That's why, like, I'm just gonna keep doing what I do.
Yeah, I mean, this is Again, at the end of the day, be safe. Still wash your hands. Wear masks for other people. You know what I mean? But yeah,
agreed.
That's kind of. I can't say that I haven't been out there. Same as Mr. C. So. I just honestly, I think that this is a new disease and it's a new pandemic, and we're kind of learning as we go. And there is a lot of
that's the
information.
thing that people don't. You have to understand. I think about scientists, like, they know more than we do, but they can be wrong, and like they've said things and they've corrected themselves. It's just like you have to trust them. You can't just. There's so many people out there right now that are like, well, we can't trust them because they've been wrong before, or they said this and they took it back. But it's like. Just like with anything, you learn, and this is a completely new situation that no one's really used to. So, like,
it's the
best thing we can do is listen, and I think I can do better to listen because I'm not. It's weird. It's a weird situation. It's a very, like, in my mind, I'm like, I shouldn't be doing the things I'm doing, but I think my self-control is not high enough to just, like, kind of shelter myself within my apartment for, multiple days. It's
I'm done.
Tough.
Yeah, I agree.
I need a bar drink. I need a beer.
I agree. So a couple questions here from Karen Wu. She's also asking, do people not find Lynch's disturbing as a name? I think Lynch is
strange, right? It's an Irish pub, though.
It's an Irish pub. Yeah.
So
especially like with. I mean, I didn't think about Lynch. Because it's Lynch's. I didn't think about it either until now.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, but it's very topical because of BLM. Hey, how are the protests going where you guys are? Is it still happening?
There's still one in Orlando. There's a gathering. They're not calling a protest. There's a gathering every day around. I think there's one at 10 a.m. and there's one at 3 p.m. every day, and it's just I guess like members of the Black community going to speak, and like people would just be sitting on the ground listening to them by Lake Eola Park. That's
cool.
Which it's not a protest. It's just
that's pretty cool.
It's just like really, it's almost like like you're going to a speech or something. It's cool.
I kind of like that. I like how the movement is kind of evolving. Like, of course, in the beginning, you're going to have bad actors. You're going to have people, that are going to riot and loot, and that makes the headlines. And I think that really does distract from whatever you're doing. But honestly, in a democracy, I think you do need direct action sometimes in order to change things. But it's been pretty calm over here in Daytona the last 3 weeks. I think there were a couple of gatherings that got canceled because the weather was kind of bad up until recently. But then as I was driving down on International Speedway, there were near Bethune-Cookman College, was one of the HBCUs here in the state. There were a bunch of people out there with signs standing by the end of the road. Everyone's honking. And, Florida, I mean, Daytona's kind of a red city. But I was surprised. Everyone was honking, putting their fists up in the air as they drove by. I was like, man, this is kind of cool, because
that's awesome.
I've seen some, they also host the Daytona 500, which how crazy is that, of all the sport leagues, NASCAR comes out and is like, listen, no more Confederate flags. They paint.
Dude, NASCAR's killing it.
Dude,
right
NASCAR,
now.
I want to watch now. I want to watch now.
Making the NFL look like crap.
Yeah.
It's a good move.
It's a solid move for sure.
I'm telling you, man, that is a challenge to have those fans not wave a Confederate flag.
Oh yeah,
that is a challenge.
Yeah,
crazy.
I remember walking through like the RVs and all that stuff. Everyone had a Confederate flag.
Everyone. Yeah.
Everyone, especially like Daytona.
Oh, man. huge with the Confederate flags.
I'm interested to see how this works.
Karen Wu has asked, what is a HBCU? A HBU is a historically black college. So in the days of segregation in the United States, there were specific colleges and universities started that would cater to a segregated audience because in schools, especially here in the South, black students couldn't attend public universities. They were all segregated, so they started and formed their own. Grambling is one I think Grambling's in Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. The two big here in Florida are Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman. Every year they play they still play the Florida Classic in Orlando, right?
at the best drumline.
Oh, dude! If you want to go, football is almost secondary to the drum line. Like everyone goes there to watch halftime and then party down in downtown afterwards. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
And then they go crazy here at the beach as well. Like,
hey, guys, I gotta use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Karen Wu says the NASCAR thing was unexpected but very cool. Yeah, we all kind of, it caught us all by off guard as well. And I love how like everyone's responding to the one dude who's like, oh, like I'm gonna quit.
I'm not gonna race anymore. LeBron James even called him out. He's like, you're a scrub, dude.
That's great.
NASCAR replied back and said, we had to Google to look you up.
Yeah, we didn't even know who you were. He drove in like the truck series. He wasn't even in the show. That's like a minor leaguer saying like, I'm not gonna play anymore. It's like Tim Tebow saying, I'm protesting. I'm stopping my major league career.
Tebow's got clout though. This guy is no one.
That's true.
Nobody.
That's true. You're right. You're absolutely right.
All right. Should we start it?
Yeah. Karen Wu. Listen, the debate around the Confederate flag is for people who
dumb.
Yeah. People.
The Confederates were only around for like what, 5 years? 4 or 5 years. I saw.
Yeah. In
like
terms,
the actual like flag or.
Yeah, and the one that they use is the battle flag because a couple of the other, like, have you ever seen the designs for the original Confederate flag that like they're all terrible? I think the first one was like all white, like, you know what I mean, like, so which
surrender flag,
which is kind of like full circle.
It's just it's all weird.
It's all like, weird thing, but it is good.
It's like a rebel group, like still like supporting a rebel group of the United States. It's strange.
Yeah, it's crazy. But listen, let's get into the fun stuff here. Thanks everyone. We got 10 viewers here. Yeah, I don't know what Benny's doing. Benny, dude, how good is that USA jersey, man? So
I like it. It's long sleeve. It actually fits now that I got a little fatter.
When you put on some LBs, Benny.
Put on the quarantine 15.
Yeah.
Metabolism's definitely slowing. I can tell by the shirts that I have in my closet because I've had like shirts for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And like, oh man, this one used to be really loose.
So you like working out the same amount, but you're gaining weight faster?
I don't know, man, because I feel like I had a couple of injuries that put me back, and like I got scared to lift as intense as I used to.
Yeah.
But I'm slowly getting back into it because I'm kind of like understanding my body more.
Right.
So.
Listen, you're gonna go through cycles. I mean, you're gonna go ups and downs. That's one thing I learned about getting older is that like, when I was your age, when I was 20, like from the ages of 19 to 25 or 26, I was very lean, like really lean. Then I put on some pounds. Once I wasn't working service industry, I got a corporate job. You know what? It's the corporate gig, man. It's that sitting
gig, man.
in a cubicle, going to lunch with colleagues, that kind of stuff that puts on the pounds. And then when I moved out to Arizona, I lost like 50 pounds. And then you go through ups and downs. And then I was working out. I looked really good. And so that's what I want to get back to again. So,
yeah.
Whole 30, baby. All right, let's start the show.
Enter Florida Man music. Boom, boom, boom.
Bum, 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 bum,
We really need to find some music. If you have any good music for the Untitled Florida Man project, that'd be cool. Florida Man. I've looked at like songs, and I couldn't find any. All right, let's go. Main cam. Welcome back to the Untitled Florida Men Project, the show that brings you the top stories about America's favorite citizen, the Florida Man. Each week we dive deep into our favorite headlines made possible by the Sunshine Act of 1976. In order to navigate the mind of the Florida Man, though, you'll need guides familiar with the swamps, rivers, beaches, theme parks, and homogeneous strip malls that litter the landscape of the Sunshine State. To know the Florida Man, you have to be a Florida man, which is why I am here. My name is Roger Roper. I'm one of your 3 native Floridians, and alongside me are my 2 co-hosts, Benny Buffett and Mr. C.
Big Duval. Let's go.
You can subscribe to our Twitch channel for free via your Amazon Prime account. We also want to hear from you in our chat as well as send us your Twitch bits. Additionally, check out all the great content here on Shat podcasts such as Shat on TV, Shat the Movies, Shappy Hour, Squad Goals, and the Now that it's over, I was doing a Westworld show as well, but that's over. So that being said, before we dive into the headlines, guys, what was your personal Florida man moment of the week? We'll start with you, Mr. C.
Yeah, so this past week, me and some friends went to Siesta Key for like 4 days, 4 to 5 days.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. It was a great time. Everyone was out. The coronavirus was gone. Everyone was out doing whatever they wanted to do. But the crazy realization we came to was that every single beach town in Florida looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
We were walking around Siesta Key, and we were so excited to go, and we had never been there. We heard how beautiful it was, and it was beautiful, and it was fun. But it was like the whole time we're just like, me and my friend were just kept saying, this just like reminds me of Daytona, or this reminds me of Cocoa Beach.
Right.
And it was like that typical Florida beach town feel. It's really specific to Florida, but then that's it. After that, it's like every city is exactly the same, and like probably until you get to Miami. And we were like, well, we should just do this every year. We should just go to like a typical Florida beach town and do like a 4 to 5 day vacay.
Where is Siesta Key for those who like? I've heard of Siesta Key. I may have been there, but I don't remember where it is. Is it on the East Coast?
It's like
or West
20
Coast?
minutes south of. It's like West Coast, south of Tampa. It's about like 30 minutes south of Tampa.
In between Tampa and Fort Myers.
Yeah,
But
it's a cool little
closer
town.
to Tampa.
It's how do I describe it? It's not St. Augustine. It's like it's an old sleepy retirement town that a lot of tourists go to go to the beach. So like the beaches are packed with like tourists, and then when you go out to the bars, it's like a bunch of like 50 and 60-year-olds that have probably lived there their whole lives. So it was very beach town Florida. It felt very beach town Florida. It was the vacation we were expecting. I would suggest, I'd recommend. High recommend.
Nice. I just want to give a couple shout outs here in the chat. Big shout out to Karen Wu, who said our Florida man could be a little sexist. So maybe we have to change the podcast to Florida person. Like that we have to start about the Florida person. But I think we're in equal opportunity, as you'll see it by the headlines. We do Florida man, Florida woman. It's just a colloquial term, but maybe we need to update it. I don't know.
Karen Wu's keeping us on our toes.
She's keeping us on our toes, man. And then also we have a Minsum 0224 asked, do we know why they're here? And it's to brush up on English. I don't know if this is the best show or podcast to listen to if you want to learn English.
It is.
Is it?
The best one.
Is it the best?
Yeah. You cannot
scholars. We're all scholars here.
We
and
speak fluent, proper English.
And Jung Deb says there's a reality show on MTV about Siesta Key.
Oh, Jung Deb, yes. We found out about that the day before we left for Siesta Key. It's insane. Like imagine Jersey Shore on steroids.
Really?
It's like 10 times the drama, and it's in Florida. So if you want a visual reality TV representation of what Florida's like, Siesta Key might be the show. That
season premieres tonight.
Really? Like how many people are on the show?
I don't know.
It's like 6.
Oh, it's like 6.
It's like 4 girls, 4 boys, or 3 girls, 3 boys.
All
it's
right.
just like Jersey Shore, except in Siesta Key.
Yeah. Hey, by the way,
I just saw a clip tonight. It was pretty crazy.
Hey, by the way, Jung Deb, just for those listening and watching and in the chat, Jung Deb is my mom, and she might be the one of the best people in the world. And she's currently battling cancer again for the 3rd time. And if there's anyone who can beat it 3 times in a row, it's my mom. She's so cool. She's so awesome.
She's great. I can vouch. Yeah, she's amazing.
She's awesome. So she's watching us live, and just because she has to stay in because of COVID. So big shout out to Mom. Thank you so much. Yeah, we need to put up a Florida map. Maybe that's what we need to start doing. Karen Wu says we need to do a Florida map. Benny, what was your Florida man moment of the week?
So I was at Saturday. I was okay. What am I gonna? Had a lot of downtime, unexpected, and I was gonna chill, but instead we went to a bar. And my Florida man moment of the week was, I took over the jukebox.
No way.
And I started playing some Jimmy Buffett.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah.
Did the crowd like it, or were they annoyed?
Oh, the crowd loved it. you could start to hear like, like those locals who are at a bar that they kind of like started like hitting on the bar counter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I know
that.
this song. I know this song.
Yeah.
If you're in Florida and you don't know Jimmy Buffett, then you're not in Florida. Yeah.
You don't know Jimmy, gonna get out.
Take our chips.
Was this was this like
Get
the
out.
was this like
Get out.
was this the like one of those where you can control it on your phone, like like you can
Touch
pay
Tunes.
touch tunes? That's it. I love it when there's a touch tunes.
Big
And
time.
you can
I
do
love it. I always they always suck me in because I always want to play my song next. So I pay more so that I can skip people.
Yeah.
Because then I look at the queue and I'm like, oh man, this is not going to be a good vibe if you transition from like Def Leppard to like, Lizzo, right? Like you can't, those are two big jumps. You gotta have a consistent flow.
Right.
So
Hey Benny, I have a trivia question for you.
Go for it.
And Raj, you
Okay,
too as
go
well. I
for
guess
it.
since you guys both claim you're so good at trivia.
Okay.
Where was Jimmy Buffett born?
Alabama.
Alabama.
Correct.
Yep.
Wow.
He actually
Alabama.
he actually started out as a country singer, and then he was a failed country singer. So he went down to Key West, and then wrote what would become songs you know. Is it songs you know by heart? No, that's his best hits album. Is it Margaritaville? Is the album the
Yeah,
yellow?
that's his big one.
That's the big one. But like,
Oh, by the way, fake news. It's actually Mississippi. This one said Alabama. He was born in Pascagoula, Mississippi.
he grew up in Alabama then.
He grew up in Alabama, but was born in Mississippi. But I'll take that as a correct answer.
Interesting.
He was also born on Christmas.
Oh. All of his Christmas songs are terrible
Jesus.
though. Yeah, never listened to his Christmas album.
None of his songs are terrible. He's a whole energy, So, but
Come
he
on.
also he wrote Cheeseburger in Paradise at this restaurant in Captiva Island, which I think is next to right next to Siesta Key.
Yeah.
Or no, maybe that's Fort Myers. No, I gotta look at the map.
See, you need a map. See, Karen Wu she's coming through, man. We need that map.
True Chains. What about you, Raj? What was
my Florida man moment of the
Moving
week?
back?
Listen, I've been in Florida now going on 3 weeks, and I mean I've done it all. You guys came over. We did some garage grilling, which I didn't know was a thing until recently. But I actually like grilling in the driveway versus like a back patio. Is that weird?
Yeah, it was nice.
It was really
No,
nice,
yeah,
right?
you have the whole garage. It's like a nice chill spot.
Yeah.
Maybe we should trick out the garage a little bit.
We should trick
before
out.
that.
We should definitely trick out the garage.
You have a trickable garage. There's a lot of space in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got
tricks.
the refrigerator out there. So it kind of reminded me of like King of the Hill, like just out there doing that. I've been to Publix almost every single day. Which, if you know anything about Publix in the Southwest, it's like the place for Floridians. I've had a delicious mojo pork pub sub. I drove the '67 Beach Jeep on the world's most famous beach here in Daytona. I drank margaritas at Jimmy Buffett's Land Shark Bar.
Wow.
I took the family to the highest rated Cuban frita, which is a Cuban hamburger, which is something that was imported here by the Cubans that were fleeing when Castro took over. A lot of the Cuban refugees settled in Little Havana, which is now known as Little Havana, down on 8th Street, which is now known as Calle Ocho. So, for as long as my parents have lived down in Miami and my stepfather is from Miami, he had never really frequented places like Hey Cuban Fritas or really had one. I had never had a Cuban hamburger. So we found the top Cuban frita place on Calle Ocho, the highest rated one, like by multiple sources. It's still owned by the guy who makes your burger. Like it's one of those places, really small place, very small parking lot. But it was also the place where President Obama, when he was in office, and he stopped in there and met the owner. And it's one of those places where, again, if you've ever been down to Little Havana or Calle Ocho in Miami, it's like all the old Cubans just hang out all day and just talk to one another in different restaurants, cafes. There's a whole park dedicated to for the Cuban refugees to play dominoes. That's now a national monument. but in true fashion, like everyone is social distancing now, but they're still out there talking, hanging out. So it really reminded me of like growing up with my, our Cuban grandfather, Benny and I's grandfather, hanging out down there. So we also drank mojitos. My family and I shared a pitcher of mojitos together. And I've been selling nothing but items on Facebook Marketplace. And I got to tell you, everyone is super rad here in Daytona Beach, man. Like, there's just a different vibe. You talk about like those beach towns, Mr. C. Like you live in Orlando. Our aunt lives in Orlando as well, and she has trouble buying and selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace because I think Orlando almost has this vibe of like it's very transient. People aren't from there, and like people are always trying to scam people, and so there's not like this trust in Orlando. But in Ormond Beach, I had an electrician come by and a plumber come by, and they did the work, and I was like, hey man, I have a debit card. He's like, man, debit cards are going to cost me 3%. I'll stop by in a couple days and you just give me cash. Like, it's like,
it's like,
about it
in
it's
Orlando.
Like,
Never.
It's like so like old school, like, whatever, man. Like it's chill. It's really chill.
I think like how I would compare it is like, it reminds me a lot of your guys' grandmother, Lala, and my grandmother as well. It's like I feel like Daytona and a lot of these, I guess, more rural cities. Daytona's not rural, but it's not like a metropolitan city like Orlando or Jacksonville. They're a lot more. That's where you get that like southern charm of Florida, because it's not everywhere in Florida. Like Orlando is like, dude, most people I meet in Orlando, they didn't grow up in Orlando. It's like coming here for work or they went to school here. Yeah, it's a conglomeration of a bunch of different people from around the state and around like the country and world. So it's like a huge melting pot in Orlando. So not everyone's as like trusting, I guess.
Yeah, it's really strange.
But then like if I go back home or if I go to Daytona or where my grandmother lives in Panama City, it's like, I mean, you trust the stranger off the street, trust you to do something for them, and just forget about it in Orlando. Never. So that's where you get that southern charm, because a lot of people say Florida's not the South, but some cities it is. You get that southern hospitality, but like places like Miami, Orlando, Jacksonville, I don't think you get that as much.
No, definitely not. And it's like I've had people come over multiple times, like to the house, and like we'll have like a genuine conversation, getting to know one another. And I was like, man, this is something that I've missed. Even it's the same way in Phoenix. Like it's very transactional. If you're selling stuff on Craig, and I've had good experience out in Arizona, but like you're here for a transaction, get your stuff and get out of here. I talked with a guy on the phone for like 10 minutes about boats. He's gonna come by and he's like, I'm bringing the cash tomorrow. I just need a boat for my grandkids. Just so like chill. He's like, I've had Sea Rays since the 70s. It's like, dude, this guy.
Wait, that's Benny in 30 years.
I know, dude. Yeah, no kidding.
So.
Well, Benny's gonna inherit like all 4 of his dad's boats. Your dad will probably be up to like 6 boats by then.
I know, right?
So it's been. I'll say this: it's been cool, man. It really has. And I know I've shat on Florida for the last 9 years, but it really is cool coming back, especially in Daytona. Gaz Bradero. Okay, all right. I know you got to go. It's almost 2 a.m. So let's get into the stories. All right, we got 3 top Florida man stories for you guys. The first one, let's get to my story transition. There we go.
Dun, dun, dun,
Dun, dun, dun. Main with story. Here we go. Okay. The first one is entitled Florida Man Bit in Face by Alligator While Looking for His Frisbee. This is a good one. A Florida man was wading in waist-deep water looking for lost Frisbees when an alligator attacked him, grabbed his face, and forced him to fight for his life. Ultimately, the man was able to free himself and flee to safety with, I guess he like put in like his left arm and like was able to like pull up the jaw. But he had lacerations on his face and his hands, and he was taken to the hospital. The Reptilian Attack occurred at Taylor Lake in Largo, which is on the west coast of Florida, or on the west side of Florida, next to a disc golf course at 5 o'clock in the morning. According to the report, this, however, is not the first time the 40-year-old Florida man has gone disc diving. He's been busted for trespassing before while retrieving discs for other Frisbee golf players, most recently in January before COVID hit. The cool thing about this guy is, let's see here. So I have the, okay, there we go. Oh man, where's the story? Oh, I gotta do this. Okay, here's the picture of the guy. Here's the crazy thing. Now, I don't play disc golf. Do you guys play disc golf?
I have.
No.
You have
I
played
have.
disc golf. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you play it? Like what is it? What is disc golf?
He doesn't know how to play it. He's terrible.
I've only played once, Raj, and it was with
Okay.
my stepbrother, and I'm actually very good. He was
Right.
like,
You're
"You should play
not.
more often."
Right.
So
Stop
pretty much
lying.
what you do is like it's just like golf. I mean, you start
Okay.
at like one end of a hole, I guess, quote unquote hole, but it's really just like a pole, and there's like chains hanging from the hole, and you just have to throw it into this like little bucket. It's just like golf, and
Okay.
they score it the same way. It depends where you live. Like, I don't know if I'd want to go disc golf in like the Florida heat, but
Right.
it's
Right.
It could be fun if you really
Okay.
like to throw frisbees
So
around.
you have it's like golf. You take you have
Exactly
pars,
like
you have
golf.
4. Okay. Well, if you've been golfing in Florida, one of the things that you'll notice, especially you'll see a lot of videos like this, there are gators on golf courses. Like that will just walk the course, and if you hit your ball into the water, a water hazard, there are gators in there, so you don't go after it. Well, apparently there are people in disc golf, because I guess the discs are more expensive than golf balls. Each disc, I guess, costs $18 on average for disc golf. So if you lose your disc in one of the Florida lakes, there is a market for services of people going into the lakes and retrieving it. And that's what this guy does. Apparently, he's what they call a squid. So this happens so often that there's a colloquial term for it. He goes in and he charges players $3 to retrieve their frisbee. So
That's insane.
What-
I'm just shocked that enough people play frisbee golf for him.
right,
to, like, do
exactly.
that.
That was my
You
that was
know?
my thought as well. Like, how many people are playing frisbee golf? This incident comes also for those who may be frequenting Florida anytime soon. We are right in peak alligator mating season. And these are when the gators are the most aggressive. We talked about this on Crocodile Dundee, and I think here on the podcast, that alligators are typically, for most of the year, very tame or very afraid of humans. And they'll typically run away from humans. But during mating season, it's like game on. The testosterone levels of bull gators are through the roof. And alligators begin to court in April, but mating runs May through June. So these are like the bull gators, and like these are the ones that are like haven't had anyone. So they're trying. It's like the really aggressive guys at the end of the night at like a pub like Lynch's, where they're just like, I got to get something here, right?
Yeah.
Like so
Desperation time.
desperation is, yeah, exactly. According to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, they're still searching for the alligator. I guess when an alligator attacks a person, this is the sad part. Like, it's not the alligator's fault. He's just trying to
Right.
procreate, right? Here comes
The dude's like swimming into his territory.
yeah.
Like,
Here's the squid coming along trying to
approaching
retrieve a frisbee golf. Of course I'm gonna fucking death roll him.
we actually had a conversation in Siesta Key because we were just like on the water, and I was talking about how like terrifying it would be to see a shark, right? Like,
Right.
just close to you. And we had a debate about what would be scarier, if you saw a gator approaching you or if you saw a shark approaching you. And my answer was shark, and everyone else's was a gator, because they said gators are more aggressive, and like when they bite you, they'll bring you down. But I was like, I don't think that's true. I don't think gators are aggressive at all.
No, gators are pretty tame for the most part, like you said, and I'm more afraid of seeing a shark because
Same.
the thing about the shark is a shark will grab your leg and kind of like thrash, and once it realizes like you're not a seal or a meal, they'll typically leave. And most of the bites in Florida are juvenile sharks that are like little bull sharks, which have high testosterone as well. But gators, if they get you, they want to do a death roll. And the death roll is like them turning over and over again, because gators can't chew. So they have to tear off
Right.
the flesh and then swallow
right.
it whole. Which is why they do that death roll. But yeah, no, gators are typically, they'll run away. They're just giant lizards, man. As we'll learn
Yeah.
here, they're very cute at times as well. So in the chat here, they're like, are people really doing this for $18? No, they're doing it for $3. they're doing it for less money.
$3.
They're doing it for
He must
$3.
truly love his job.
Yeah, exactly. Benny, anything to say about this?
Well, if I was in the water and a shark was approaching me and a gator was approaching me, I'd be more scared of the gator, just because a shark will approach you and it's typically more curious, but if a gator is approaching you, I think it's about to attack.
Yeah, it's usually for a reason. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right on that. Exactly.
So
I
Yeah.
just don't understand how this guy got bit in the face and he got away. That's crazy.
they said they didn't really have like the size of the gator either.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very important fact.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, if I'm getting bit in the face, I'm probably not going to have eyes on him. I'm not going to know how big he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, all right. So that's story number one.
Number one. Let's go to story number 2. This is entitled Naked Florida Man on LSD Arrested and Accused of Hitting Cop in Downtown Melbourne. And Melbourne is just south of Florida, another beach town here.
Yeah, Melbourne's awesome. I love Melbourne. That's our beach town. That's where we go.
I do love me a good Melbourne as well. Oh, let's see here. Where is the Benny story? Mr. C story. There we go. Okay, this is the guy right here on the. Look at this guy. I feel like if I let myself go and didn't stay out and like stayed in the sun or didn't stay in the sun and took a lot of LSD, I might look like this guy. But
Man, that guy has some lacerations all over.
yeah. You would think that this guy would be the guy that got attacked by the alligator, but apparently not. He's got a little.
Yeah.
He might have a little meth face as well. I don't know. I've never done LSD.
That looks like meth face.
Yeah. So again, a Melbourne, Florida man arrested Friday after police said he was wandering downtown naked and violently attacked 2 people, including a police officer. Officers responded to the New Haven area off the tracks, which I guess is a bar down there. After receiving reports of a naked man in the area, they arrived at the scene to find the Florida man with cuts on his naked body and a possible head injury. While police attempted to take him into custody, he struck one of the officers in the face, which I always find interesting because I'm at my most vulnerable when I'm naked. The last thing I want to do is lash out, especially at uniformed police officers.
And especially on LSD.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, have you ever taken any psychedelics? Have you ever done any kind of like either mushrooms or acid or LSD?
Yeah, I've done both.
You've done both. Okay, so like I've eaten mushrooms twice. Once was in college, and then once was a few years ago. We were
Did you
out.
enjoy it both times?
Yeah, I enjoyed it both times. But like we were with good people. Like everyone was doing it, and it was like very like I don't know. I think of mushrooms like the same way I think of weed. Like it's natural, right? And
Right.
Yeah.
No one was trying to freak each other out. We were just kind of having a good time. One was in the woods camping. Gene Lyons and I did it, and it was fun. But I've never done LSD. I'm scared. So what was your experience like on LSD?
I'm trying to figure out how to describe how it was different because I've done both. LSD was much more like I guess like on shrooms you're a little bit more. I felt more like intoxicated, I guess.
Okay.
Like not fully. I wasn't sharp, but when I did LSD, I felt like more sharp than I ever was. It's almost like how shrooms might be like the weed, like those two things, like marijuana and shrooms can be kind of in the same group. I felt like acid was more like Adderall or Coke. Like you're like really hyper and like aware of everything that's going on. So there's that. Plus, like you don't see anything. And I think this is true with shrooms as well. But acid was much more like you see things like it's just so hard to explain. It's like you see things that like my experience was I was camping at night with a bunch of people, and that was a weird thing in general, was doing it at night. But it was me and 2 other guys did it, and we were walking down like this sidewalk, and it was like really beautiful. Like there was a lot of stars out, and I just was like looking up, like mesmerized by like the stars, and I started like seeing like this grid. I don't know how to it was so hard. It's like you can't even describe it. It's like like I started seeing like a grid. It was almost like Matrix-esque, and it was like I started like and you have like these really like in-depth thoughts about things, and like it's hard to almost like remember what it was I was thinking. It was so long ago. And then also the people I was with, I started like imagining, or like in my mind, these people were vampires that were trying to like take over or like kidnap me, but I wasn't scared. It's really weird. And like I was kind of like looking at people, and they'd like when they looked at me, like I would see like this like glare in their eyes, and like their teeth would grow. Like,
oh my god!
Like sharp,
really?
like canines would grow.
Oh my god!
But it wasn't like I was scared. Like I knew I was. That's the thing. Like I wasn't intoxicated, so I was very aware that I was like tripping.
Yeah.
So it was like, I know this isn't real, but this is fucking awesome. Like, this is so cool to like watch these people turn into vampires and like watch this like really like trippy like grid up in space. It was but for me, my shrooms trip, it's hard to say. You might want to ask Benny. He'd probably be better to answer about the shrooms, because I had a terrible trip on shrooms.
Oh, you had a bad one.
Yeah, like I had like a panic attack.
What was that, Benny?
I mean, it was boring, honestly.
We did it in the wrong way. We did it in a terrible way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't do it the way that I wanted to do it.
We were with a third person, Raj, and he was about to go to the military, and he was scared to go outside and be on, which was stupid. Me and Benny were trying to tell him, like, even if a cop comes and like sees us doing this, he's not going to test us for shrooms. Like, he's just going to tell us to go back into our apartment. And Benny was like, let's go. And he was like, no, let's stay. And it was kind of like the whole trip started off on that argument. And I think that's kind of what put me down a little bit. And then we kind of all just like separated. But yeah, I think if we would have went outside and been in a better mood, all three of us, it would have been way better.
Yeah.
Definitely need a redemption.
But I thought you had a good trip, Benny. I didn't know that yours was boring.
I mean, it was,
we were like in a dark apartment.
I would
it's
rather
like not the
be
best
like
place.
kayaking,
Right.
going to the woods, doing something, exploring nature instead of just being inside.
I think
agreed.
I think that's my opinion about like drugs in general. Like, if you like, there's such a difference. Like, if you're gonna sit home and do drugs, you're kind of I don't know. I don't want to call people this because maybe this is their way that they're relaxed, but like, I almost view that as like you're just tuning out. You know what I mean? You're not being productive. But if you're like going out, or you're camping like you were with friends, or you want to be outside kayaking, part of nature, and you want to like, eat some shrooms or smoke some weed, like, you're still being productive and you're using it to enhance. It's like drinking alcohol on the beach. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a different type of relaxation. I don't get the I'm going to stay home. Like, I'm never going to sit on my couch by myself and drop LSD. You know what I mean? Like that. I don't think I'll ever drop LSD, but I'm not going to eat mushrooms, sitting here by my lonesome. But again, like that's what the fear is for me, is like I would have a bad trip like this guy had. According, go ahead.
I was gonna say Karen Wu. That's exactly that's the words I was trying to think of. Yeah, acid felt more of like an upper, and shrooms felt more like a downer.
Yep. Well, according to the story, police restrained the Florida man, brought him to a local hospital where he said he had reportedly taken LSD earlier in the day. According to the arrest reports, also another man came to the police and said this Florida man had slapped him when walking by him on the street earlier. I guess maybe when he was clothed. I don't know. He was charged with exposure of sexual organs, battery of a law enforcement officer, and resisting with violence. He has since been released from the Brevard County Jail on bond. And so, I hate to see guys like this go to jail. You know what I mean? Because he probably needs to go to rehab. Or
I
there's
just
something
don't understand
in his life.
what could have come over him. Like, to be in that state of mind. Like, I feel like when you're doing that type of drug, like you are not looking for trouble. Like, it's just the last thing you want.
Right.
Like, it's just crazy. He had to have been on something else. But
had to have
maybe
been.
not. Maybe he's just a psycho.
Or maybe he got bad. Maybe he got a bad batch. I don't know. There's
and that's possible. Yeah.
There's a great documentary on Netflix about hallucinogens, and it has celebrities talking about the first time they did a hallucinogen, and they say that you can have bad trips, but if you go into the history of LSD, it was never really fully researched, as it was really getting into academic studies and possibly being used, like on Vietnam veterans. They were trying to use it as a way to treat PTSD. Political movements got behind it and outlawed the testing. So I think a lot of people, they don't know how LSD really works. Like, you hear of people out in Silicon Valley microdosing. I think, didn't Elon Musk say he microdoses LSD?
Yeah.
As a way to expand his mind and like think of other things?
It just got approved. God, it wasn't FDA, but like something was approved that mushrooms are going to start being
mushrooms
used
in
as,
Colorado
as ways
are
to treat for
recreational.
mental health.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's just, I'm glad that our generation is opening up ideas like, hey, there might be something to this. There might be something to this. So, all right. Well, listen, we wish this Florida man well. All right. Our last Florida man story of the week comes from just down the street in Cocoa Beach. We're staying on the East Coast here. Let me get to
right by Melbourne.
Story. Yeah, right by Melbourne. You might have seen this. Did you see the viral video? This happened while we were on hiatus of the Florida man walking, or like he lifted his 6-foot alligator on his shoulder and walked into a building. Did you see this?
No. Oh.
All right. So
I was like confused by the title. So Florida man carries blind T-shirt wearing gator.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Here he is right here. This is Sweetie. Sweetie is a blind 6-foot alligator, and she is down at the Jungle Adventures Wildlife Park. That's where she lives now. She was found, I think she was found like in a lake, and she was rescued, and they nursed her back to health. But because she's blind, they knew that she couldn't survive in the wild. So she's at this wildlife park, and she's very docile. And so obviously they tape the mouth, and you can tape alligators' mouths because they all their power in their jaws is forcing down. You can't, so you just put tape around it, and
right?
They can't open the jaws. But apparently,
cute alligator.
Yeah, apparently
it is a cute alligator.
Sweetie's handler goes up and down Brevard and Polk counties, going to like schools, doing educational classes. He goes into so his friend in the video owns the shop. It's called the Key West Florida Key Lime Pie Store in Cocoa Beach. Ooh. And so there's a video of him. Someone recorded this, and it has 6 million views on Twitter, of him lifting up Sweetie and just walking him into the store, which is totally legal in Cocoa Beach, by the way.
What?
Yeah, totally legal. You can own a pet. You can have a pet alligator, which
that's support.
Yeah, total support.
Support animal.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen
a blind support animal,
if you haven't seen the video, I'll describe it. It's a man in the t-shirt, which happens to be the handler, and cargo pants, picking up Sweetie, a full-grown alligator, off a sidewalk in a strip shopping mall, then carrying it inside that Florida Key Lime Pie Store. The alligator is, of course, as pictured here, wearing a t-shirt, which is actually the shirt of the store, of the Key Lime Pie Store. The handler's name is J.R. Green. She's quoted as saying, Sweetie is really well behaved and just as laid back as she can be. They didn't want to euthanize her. But they couldn't put her back in the wild. So he basically takes her to his friend's shop every day or every weekly. And of course, this place sells key lime ice cream, key lime pie.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweetie gets a slice of pie every day?
No, she doesn't eat. And they also sell gator jerky. So she doesn't get pie or jerky, but she does eat chicken and.
Well, that's probably why she acted out.
Right, exactly. No, she didn't act out.
She wants some pie.
Yeah, she's totally chill. But again, alligator exhibits, if you haven't been to Florida, they are common in tourist areas. And this store, if you want to go, it's located in the heart of Cocoa Beach's tourist district near A1A and 520. And then I looked into it. According to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, pet alligators are allowed in Florida if the person obtains a Class 2 personal pet license, which requires not convictions, so you can't have any convictions of wildlife-related violations, and the person must demonstrate 1 year and 1,000 hours of substantial practical experience in the handling, husbandry, and care of alligators or other crocodilian species. So if you
apply for one,
you're not going to apply for just because of the.
No, I'm going to apply. I'm going to apply for one right now.
Oh, all right. There you go.
Class 2 pet license.
There you go. The Florida Key Lime Pie on its Facebook page said, Sweetie sends her love and gratitudes to all of her fans. Look how cute she is. Seriously.
She's
like
actually really cute.
Yeah.
It's surprising.
Yeah. But it's like a wholesome story coming from Florida.
Yeah.
What would you guys do?
It's a cute alligator.
If someone walks in with a 6-foot alligator into like your key lime pie store, what do you do? Do you pet it?
First of all, is the tape around the mouth?
Yes, tape's around the mouth.
Yeah, I'll go up there and pet it.
all day.
Yeah,
I'm
give
not
it a
gonna
little
hold
pet.
it. That's great content. You kidding me? I'll take a picture, put it on my fucking Instagram.
Ooh.
Oh, that's on Benny's
Right away.
Instagram within 4 seconds.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I'm definitely pushing
What's the
3 digits.
caption there, Benny?
Talk to you later, Gator.
You might want to
And
brainstorm
I'll
a
be
couple
waving
more.
goodbye. Yeah.
Do you put some emojis on there? Do you put like some what do they call those?
I would put the Gator emoji.
You put the gator emoji?
Yeah.
Alright. What about you, C? What would you put it immediately on the gram?
I definitely put it on the gram. I don't know if it would go on my actual
That's like a
pictures.
story.
Maybe just a story thing. Yeah, I don't want to like pollute my pictures with just like a picture of an alligator. Unless I can hold it. That might be different.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about here.
If I can hold it and
Yeah,
like
you're holding it.
something like this, then yeah, maybe that's worthy.
Or like
But
that,
other than-
or like on the shoulder.
On the shoulder, maybe you're carrying it like a 6-pack. Just like,
Yeah, 6-pack.
what's up, man?
There's me and my Gator.
Like putting a beer down, like pretending like feeding some beer. That would be sick.
That'd be rad.
Or what you do is you use his teeth to punch a hole in the beer and then shotgun.
Oh, you're on Barstool Sports instantly if you can do that.
Oh, see, that'd be
definitely.
rad. So, all right. So what you're saying here is, you get the gator to pop your can of Bush
With
Light
his
or beer, and then you shotgun it from there.
Yeah, so you would just take his teeth, and then
Yeah. It's a trend right now. It's a trend. How can you shotgun a beer? Like how creatively can you shotgun
what's
a beer?
the most creative way you can shotgun a beer?
Huge TikTok trend.
Oh, that'd be great, guys. One of the
Or
things.
like get a little joint in his mouth or something.
No,
I don't know.
that'd be cool.
Or
Get really
cig.
creative with it.
So sunglasses and a cig.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. So yeah, definitely Shadow Time 2012. It is harder to get your Class 2 pet license so you can own an alligator than it is to buy an assault rifle in Florida. Absolutely.
It's harder to.
It's harder. It's harder to own an alligator than it is to get an assault rifle. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you have to demonstrate that you can care for a species. You have to have like 1,000 hours logged of safety. But
So if you have a Class 2 license, can you just get any animal you want? Is that what
It's
that
an
means?
exotic pet animal license,
Ooh.
so I don't know if like you're
Where does
limited
that-
or what.
Where do you draw the line there?
I mean, if Carol Baskins can have her Class 2 license, I feel like we can do it.
Carol Baskins.
Like if you could have a pet, like of any animal, like any animal as a pet, what would it be?
Ooh, any pet?
Any pet,
I've
and it's
heard-
like this pet is gonna be trained. It's gonna love you. It's gonna be your best bud.
I would want a dire wolf,
Ooh, that's a good one.
I was like, so like a wolf,
like a big wolf, dude.
big ass
Yeah.
wolf.
Oh man,
Did
like
you
a
know-
giant
That
wolf.
would be sick.
Did you know that dire wolves are actual creatures?
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah,
Really?
they actually lived. Yeah, if you go to, I went to the Utah
do you know all these things, Raj?
because I went to the museum in Utah, and they had a dire wolf skeleton, and it's big, it's huge.
Wow.
And there's really truly is a dire wolf.
Why would you want a dire wolf, Benny?
Why wouldn't I? Are you kidding me? Imagine walking on the beach with a dire wolf. I would try to like ride on top of them too. Nah,
Imagine
tight.
what a chick magnet that would be. If
Yeah.
you're a
Yeah.
single guy and you have a dire wolf, forget
Yeah.
about it.
What about you, C?
one would mess
What
with
would be
me.
your animal of choice?
Oh my gosh. I want to say like it just seems like a lame answer because everyone says it. Like a monkey would be sick
Really? Like a trained
because
monkey?
he's so close to a human. Like
Yeah.
just like a monkey you could chill
Or a
with. Like
orangutan.
Like
yeah,
an-
just like a big goofy monkey, you know, and he can like go grab you beers and like chill with you on the couch and like. I feel like you could like almost communicate with him, like create your own language. It would be sick. Like teach him how to do things.
Well, what about a silverback gorilla?
Oof.
Like
Just
if
takes up
you're
so much space.
yeah.
yeah, but yeah.
So does a
why
dire
do
wolf.
I want like the biggest, baddest animal?
Why do you want a big animal? Well, I think Benny wants an animal that he can like fight with. Or,
He
like,
wants to
maybe-
wrestle with?
protection?
Yeah, use as protection, or just like it's like a masculine thing. Like I just
Yeah.
want like this animal. Just if someone fucks with me, you're
Right.
done.
It's true.
So I have two answers. One, I would love a koala. Either a koala or a sloth. Because I think they're just chill. You can
Wow,
like
so like very chill, like
just chill,
not
hang
active
out.
animals.
Useless. Useless.
Useless.
Yeah, they're cute. That's about it.
That's
You
what
could
I would
cuddle
want.
with them. That's about it. Right? That's about it, Raj.
I think a koala I would want either or a panda bear.
A panda would be tight.
panda
Pandas
would
are
be
so
tight,
funny.
dude.
I spent
I've-
like an hour just watching a panda exhibit at a zoo once, and they are so
Right?
funny.
House down.
They crack me up.
Dude, I would
man, I'm
chill.
telling
Because think about it. You could chill with a panda. You could wrestle with it. You could take it out on
Yeah.
the beach. Think about how badass it would be if we put my panda in the 67 Jeep with the top down and just cruised. Like you
It
get
just
the, you get
pops
the
open a Coca-Cola.
yeah, you get the panda. Well, it's not a polar bear. It's a panda bear. You put like goggles on it and it's just chilling. You know what I mean? I think
Just
that'd
a
be
nice
rad.
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
I'm into the panda bear idea.
Yeah,
'cause
I
like
like
the
panda
that's
bear.
a
I like panda bear.
a lot
like
more than
that.
the koala and the sloth.
All right.
Dude, I don't think you'd like a sloth, Raj.
No,
They're
you're probably
very,
right. You're probably right.
You just
see them up close. They're not cute.
no.
like all you would do is like you would go to the kitchen at night and then you would just see your koala staring at you, moving slowly. Just like,
No,
Like,
that'd
what
be
are you doing
that's,
up?
that's the sloth. No, the koala
what
is
are you getting?
the koala is cool. The koala is cool.
Good move on the
I would love
koala.
to.
Koala's
I would
whatever.
love to chill with the koala, or a panda bear. A panda bear.
Yeah.
Those would be my animals of choice. Karen Wu says that we should do a challenge where each of us should try to get our best pick with an alligator.
Okay.
I don't know where to do.
Okay.
I guess we're gonna have to go down to Cocoa Beach, hang out.
Well,
in the
there's
key lime
alligator
pike.
farms everywhere.
There really are. There really are.
Just say it's your birthday
It's-
and they'd be like, "Oh, you want to take a picture with the alligator?"
It's amazing to think that alligators were endangered as like late as the 70s.
Raj again with the stats.
It's unreal,
That's so
right?
weird.
Yeah, do you have any type of photographic memory?
Are you
Raj,
an
or you
encyclopedia?
I just know random shit. That's just the thing. I just know random shit.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, you know, I can't
Oh
put it
yeah,
all
Karen
together.
Wu says you wouldn't love a koala. They'll rip you to shreds and probably give you chlamydia. I've heard this. that
I've heard the
they- like,
chlamydia.
I've heard the
all
chlamydia.
koalas have
I have
chlamydia.
heard the chlamydia.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to mess with that, dude.
Listen, I'm not trying to have sex with my koala. I'm just trying to hang out with it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not.
Yeah, but you
trying
don't have
to
the
fuck a
intention of
koala.
the koala.
Right when I said that, I was like, "Damn, that sounds really bad." I was like, "I'm not gonna want to mess with that koala." That sounds terrible.
No, I do hear they have
You get
chlamydia,
your
but
koala
I
and be like, "Hey, it's kind of late.
I think
What's
it's
up?
I think it's a special.
You're looking kind of cute."
It's been a while, man. I'm sorry.
Would you let him?
It takes its little claws.
What if it just wants to jerk you off? Like, what if it's just like I just want to give you I just want to give you a koala job. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
he'd cut
Or
your
a
dick in
bamboo
half.
job.
You'd
They
be in
call it.
trouble.
Yeah, I want to give you a bamboo job.
Oh yeah, he eats it like a bamboo.
That's awful,
From what I
dude.
understand, koalas aren't really like they're it's a miracle they're even living because I think bamboo is like one of the least nutritious foods in the world, and a koala only eats bamboo, and it has to eat a lot of bamboo to survive, which is why the wildfires in Australia were so disastrous because I think 90% of their habitat was burned down. So that's what makes me sad for all the koalas. Did you see like the videos of the koalas? This year's been fucking
Oh.
nuts. Like it started off with like
Yeah, man.
the Australian wildfires.
Australia was the first thing that started.
Oh, it was horrible. And
yeah,
then,
forgot
I saw,
about it, yeah.
I saw the baby or the koala like being rescued from the fires.
Yeah.
That was a hard video.
it's
to
a hard
watch.
video to watch. And so that's why koalas popped in my head. But then now the more that I think about it, cute panda bear videos, like it's total eye bleach. You know what I mean? Like if you're just having a bad day,
Yeah.
just like you said, sit there and watch panda videos on YouTube for like an hour. They're just cute.
Yeah, I follow a panda Instagram account, and it's just funny because it's so funny. Like whenever like the zookeepers try to like feed them or take care of them, they
Right.
just keep messing with the zookeepers, and they have to pick them up and move them away.
Right. It's great. It's wonderful. So anyway. All right. Well, hey, thanks so much, Karen Wu, as always. Jung Deb, my mom. She's probably watching this with my family if she hasn't already turned it off. So thanks so much for hanging out with us. Thanks for being patient as we were on hiatus for 2 weeks. That does it for this week's Florida, the Untitled Florida Men podcast. By the way, I'm hesitant to drop this as a podcast because I still feel like we need a name. Like Untitled Florida Men Project doesn't like that's not a podcast, name.
Yeah, we should have thought of a name by now.
So if you, I feel
Florida
like
dudes.
the Florida dudes, but those are really, yeah.
That's not inclusive, Benny. We
Right,
have to include
Florida
women.
person. That's right.
But we're
I feel
Girls
like
can be dudes.
Yeah, girls can be dudes.
no. The inclusive part was the introduction.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Can be like, I don't know, man. I'm
I don't know,
terrible
we need a
thinking of
name.
names.
Hey, listen.
I feel like you guys are better at that.
Write in if you know a name, but anyway, so yeah, that's our hesitation. But I want to release at least the story portions of the show as a podcast, but we need a name. So help us out if you will. Tweet at us. Our social media, we're on Twitter at the Florida Men or on Instagram at the Florida Men Pod. That would be our name, but there's already a podcast called the Florida Men, and I don't think it's active anymore. But I don't want to steal their name. So anyway. Be sure to follow us and share with a friend. On behalf of my co-host, Benny Buffett and Mr. C, I'm Roger Roper. Be sure to join us next Tuesday at 8 p.m. for the next Untitled Florida Men Project. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. Take care, good night, and good luck.
Peace.
Meow.